welcome to the Captain's Log, stardate 6/18/2024. I'm your host, Danjavin, and today we're going to be discussing Purple Crew today, Pregnant Eleen from TOS, and part 2, we're going to be looking a little bit more at how to spend your citations. We got some great feedback that maybe I should put my money where my mouth is and actually do a little bit of citing and show everybody what my thought process is for my roster. Your mileage will vary. My roster is, I guess you could probably call it an endgame roster. But that said, it's far from being in danger of getting all fused beholds and a lot of the things that plague very, very long-term players. So we will take a look at where I'm at, and hopefully my thought process will help you. But first, let's take a look at this Purple Crew. So this is a pack crew that just became available to us, and so let's take a look at the offer in the store here. And it looks like a 6-pack here, so we have a bunch of caregivers, we'll call them. Actually, it's a pretty great pack. I love What to Expect. I am not a purchaser of 6-packs. I don't like the odds, and typically, the crew inside, if they tend to be portal crew, and with the exception of the brand new crew. And so if a crew's in the portal, I've already probably got a retrieve strategy for it. Spending hard cash or dilithium on those is not really the way that I like to invest my money for this game. So what we'll do here is let's take a look. I want to look in-game today because these purples really don't have a whole lot of... we don't really need to worry about their voyage power. We're really just mainly concerned with things that we can see right on the face of the card. So let's see what Eleen looks like here. First, whenever I'm looking at a purple, I want to figure out what the collection profile is going to be, because typically if I'm going to own a purple, I'm probably going to freeze it, or at least finish it, and if I have some use for it in Fleet Boss Battle, it'll hang around. In this case, we've got a crew with 4 different stat boosting collections. In my case, the royalty doesn't matter too much, but that's a pretty good start for any purple, and so for anybody pulling on this pack, they're also going to own a card that has a pretty good damage hammer for the, I guess it's the Commander League, the middle league in Arena. So we have a little bit to consider here, and really not the best one. Generally, Vindicta Mariner is going to be your go-to for any purple crew that you're going to be staffing on that mid-level arena. She's a little bit weaker, has a position contingency, and a little bit slow, but really, not too bad. And then with a command dip sec and just regular purple stats, really, again, not going to add too much to your roster. Also notable that purples frequently will find some second use, some second life whenever there's a event that rolls around. So okay, this event we get to unfreeze all our Odos, and then we get to unfreeze all our bones, and in this case, Eleen events I don't think are going to come up too often, so I think that we could probably forget her once frozen. Not investable for me, but for anybody going into her 4 collections is fine. Unfortunately for me, she's going to wind up kind of floating her way into the portal at some point, dropping from a voyage, and then I'll be stuck with what to do with her while I try to finish her off and wait for her to come to term. Anyways, let's go into the Cryostasis Vault. So one of the first things I like to keep an eye on each day, because this is real easy, is just to go into the Cryostasis Vault and see how close I am on various collections. So without even having to load our profile to the data core, we've got a really easy way in this the Cryostasis Vault in this Collections tab to just get a position on how close we are, where we should be putting our efforts, and maybe our citations today. Let's scroll down a bit. Hey, we've already got a pretty good candidate here. Check this out. So Healthy Discourse looks like it's only 7 crew away. And now I'm going to get some real juicy bonuses. I've got a Dip Core, 1% skill boost, a couple of proficiency boosts. The core is more valuable, so let's take a look at the average tier 3 or so diplomacy primary crew that's going to have 2,000. So what's 1% of that? Well, 20. It doesn't seem like much, right? But that's a permanent 20, and it's cumulative. So if you earn this diplomacy core skill boost, and then others from right below it, there's ruthless aggression. Over time, that's really going to accumulate. And not only that, but it's not just for a single crew. You're not evaluating this in a vacuum. Let's think about your entire voyage. If you have a dip voyage and you have 12 crew on there, many of them as strong as 2,000, some less. So that cumulative dip score may be as much as 200 points of bonus on that voyage. Could be enough to get you over that threshold to get you to 12 hours, even 14 hours with equipment. So these are real significant. Less so the proficiencies. Most crew have very small proficiencies. Even on their primary stat, you probably aren't going to see more than a 400 score. So a +4 especially when it's a die roll, even with the minimum and the maximum increases, is really not going to make that much of a material benefit, but it's something. And then maybe something that's even more considerable when we have our new Voyage/Gauntlet events coming up shortly. We'll touch on that a little bit later, but for now, let's keep looking at our collections. A little bit further, we're going to scroll down here. Pretty far on a lot of these. Here's 8 away for Where No Man Has Gone Before. That's a lot. We're very close on fun and games, but what's the problem here? It's no skill boost on that threshold. So it looks like we're 1 away. We're probably actually going to be 21 away from getting to anything where we're going to get a real great milestone. Yep, sure enough. Yeah, that next milestone looks fantastic, but we're nowhere near. 3 for the Daystrom Award. Who's in here? Oh, Ezreal's probably going to get the site. He's relatively safe. He's in the current giveaway, but not going to hit the portal for a year. Ooh, check this out. I've got a purple in here too. I don't have many purples left to finish, but all good things LaForge. Great candidate. The purple portal pool is so huge right now that if you have a real good reason to just throw a site on somebody, don't feel bad about it. Sure, he may drop from your Voyage tomorrow. You may get him in a Behold in a random pack, and it'll feel bad, but the chances of that happening are so low that you may as well just take the opportunities when you have them. And remember that it's not a waste if you are able to realize a benefit immediately. If I could get this collection up 3 ticks, finish it off with all safe sites, it's just such an easy choice to do, and I think I'm seeing that here with First Flight Archer. Another Gauntlet exclusive. I have a lot of work to do on the Gauntlet exclusives, but he is fantastic because look at this laundry list of collections here. I may not need a tick on every one of these, but certainly 7 is just really so considerable. I think this might be it. I think we found our first candidate. We may not need to go any further, but yeah, Daystrom Award looks like one that I'm going to be finishing for y'all today, so we'll come back to that one. Wunderkind, again, we're only 3 away, but no stat. Sorry. No stat, no site. Not going to happen. Fully functional. Here's the last one I wanted to show you. I knew this was in here because I've done a little bit of work. So we have a couple of great candidates. We're only a single star away from Sojiasha and from Tempted Data. And so we're going to visit, this is a great segue over to take a look at our tools. So whenever we have a choice to make like this, and we know we're going to be finishing off one of these, we want that bonus today. Even though it's just the proficiency bonus, we're going to want to get that on the record. And, you know, we could retrieve, but these are awful crew, and it just seems like such a shame to be spending retrievals on launch crew from 8 years ago when we could be getting our star on Ekazen Kahim and really getting some power on our roster. So let's jump on over now. I think it's time. Let's go on over to the citation optimizer. Something I left out of my description on how to cite your crew yesterday with the analysis paralysis captain's log, and that was somewhat intentional. I had actually recorded a small bit on it. Citation optimizer is a tool that should be used among all of your tools. It is something that exists in the data core under the tools tab, and just look for the star. It's the only colored icon that you have here. And when you get in, you'll be defaulted to the original engine, which I do recommend. There's an experimental engine that you can play with. It does mix up your results and give you some different information. But my typical filter that I find here is I like to start with legendary, and then we're going to leave this portal status alone for just a second and see what our first results are here. Of course, Worship Tour is at the top. I have waited just a day or two on finishing her just so that I could see a little bit of intel on what the final mission in this mega will be to see whether I'm going to be investing in recap packs. I am not. The crew that I've seen so far really just aren't ones that I'd be excited to buy a pack and get a whole lot of. So I'm probably going to leave the rest of the crew up for citations or just for retrievals once they hit the portal. So Worship Tours needs sites. She will be receiving 2 of those today. That is a no-brainer. But one thing here is that I mentioned portal. So these crew are in the portal. It's tough to want to cite up a crew that's sitting in the portal waiting for retrieval. So let's take a look and see just this portal crew, and if anything stands out here. And sure enough, on the first page here, here's something. There's a note over here. It tells you less than 100% retrieval. Great information. So even though a crew may be retrievable, it may not be 100% retrievable. It's a catch-22. So the crew that are not 100% retrievable are usually so because they have very few traits. And Dr. Edward LaForge is one of those dudes. Let's take a look here. I think he only has 4 traits. Human Starfleet Federation Exobiology. Not only is he not retrievable, but it's never going to get any better. I can't see him getting... well, he didn't get the playful trait, Mr. Sourpuss here. Probably not going to get the... what are the festive? Yeah, he's not looking particularly festive. It's just not going to happen. He's not going to be my citation target, despite showing up relatively high in the citation optimizer here. And take a look comparatively here. Only 66 expected value per citation. A pretty good final remaining EV here, I think owing just to the fact that he does have med as a secondary, and I'm really kind of lean on med. There have been a lot of engineering crew lately released, but not so many good med crew. You know, it's always going to be a need for me. So, but right above him is a much better candidate than Lady Audrey Chapel. I was excited to get her this honor sale. I've actually gotten 2 full stars on her by the end of it, which was fantastic. And yeah, she's also going to be up there on my retrieve priorities, and maybe on my site priorities based on what we see later on. So there's nothing else here that's really unretrievable in the top threshold, and you're not going to see them because just without the traits, they're not going to get the collections, and that's really going to hold back their value in terms of a tier. But let's look at the crew that are not in Portal here. This is what I'm more interested in. So Worship Tor is, yes, okay, fine. Peldar Joy Kira, I'd called her out earlier. I want to show you her release date is in March, so no matter which way the Portal update falls, whether it falls as a cutoff in January or in February, she's just out of range. There's no way that she's going to make it. So again, we're waiting at least the next couple of months until we get that update, and then another 6 months after that until the update that we expect probably at the beginning of 2025. So it's going to be a long time before I get to use this Kira, unless I just throw some sites on her. So I think she may be worth the 3 sites today. And also we did see that one of the collections we're close on. So I think that's probably going to be one of mine today. I'm going to open her in my tab. I'm going to start keeping track of these. Scorpion Tendi, I've mentioned a bunch of times, but she's soon to be in the portal. We'll look at her. We'll see what her collections say. Kegodar, I think I would be close to citing him if I were going to be pushing this upcoming hybrid event that we're going into. I'm just not interested. I'll be just running him based on his own merit as a 3-star. He'll fill up some shuttles and complete some builds, and that's about it. Mira Mariner, another safe site, never in the portal, a gauntlet drop. And so this is another one that showed up yesterday for me as being able to really beef up a few different voyages and give me some value in her collections. Boimler's probably going to get the star. That may be a good idea to do it sooner rather than later. If I'm not going to pull on recaps, at least then I can get him on some shuttles and completing some galaxy builds. So there's a prospect there. Admiral Black. Alright, so he is showing up as actually boosting voyages here. And that's owing to the fact, let's take a look at him here. So he is voyage rank 149, and that is almost unheard of for a Gauntlet crew. Gauntlet crew usually have very high proficiencies at the sacrifice of their voyage power. But in this case, we've got a side dip Voyager that also has some serious game in the Gauntlet. So the reason why I'm interested in this card particularly, and why I'll be citing him today, is because the upcoming Voyage/Gauntlet events that we'll be seeing as soon as the next 2 months, according to Ben and Joe's stream the other day. You know, I need crew that can do both. I need crew that can take my voyage as far as it can, but also fight when the time comes to do some hand-to-hand. So I think I don't know if you can go higher than a T1 or a Tier 1 or an A+, but look for Admiral Black stock to go up even further in the near term once those events come around. So he's going to be one of my options too. I think I'm ready. I've seen... no, I'm not. I'm not quite ready yet. One more thing. All right, that's enough of that. We're going to look over at the collection planner because I do want to see... I wanted to drive it home with that one collection. Fully functional here is already kind of primed and ready to go. And I've got my 2 options here. Here's Soji and Tempted Data right at the top here. So let's see if we can use what we learned to find out whether these 2 really could use their site today. So Soji is uniquely retrievable. I am at less than 100 quantum though, so it's going to be another week or so before I can even get in the range of being able to retrieve her. But Tempted Data, check this out. So this little thing down here says Portal yes. That looks different. Soji said uniquely retrievable. Let's look at Tempted Data. Let's see this a little bit closer. 50%. With Detective Data, his other fully functional counterpart, there is no guaranteed retrieve here. That does bring to mind one more thing. Let's look at detective data. So this crew actually has, I do need stars on both of them. And this crew actually has 4 different collections compared to the 2 up here. And so this seems like it's all upside if I would just throw 2 stars on detective data. But also here's an opportunity. If it's a 50% retrieval chance and I need stars on each, I could do a retrieval, see whether it falls on detective data and then finish them off, or see whether it just naturally fills out tempted data. It's tough. I'd like to get the collection bonus, but I think what the tiebreaker is going to be is the fact that the collection bonus was only a proficiency bonus, and it's just not really going to add as much to my roster. So that's going to be a wait. We're going to go to wait here. So let's go ahead and throw some cites. You've waited for it long enough. Let's go ahead. Just like that, we're back, and we're about to finish off this last build here for his outfit. There we go. Alright, let's grab our collection bonuses. So, new challenger approaches. I think I finished off 2. Do I get a second one here? Yep, sure do. Love those rebates. Makes finishing off your gauntlet crew feel real good. And then here's my Daystrom reward bonus too. And even though that was just proficiencies, it was still just a no-brainer to finish off those crew. So, alright, well, everybody, thanks for joining me today. I hope this helps you to make your decisions, to watch me do mine. Thanks for making me finally spend some of my citations. Now I'm down to, what, like 40? So maybe that's enough to carry me through. Live long and prosper. See you next time.